We went through 11 pounds of meat, 2 dozen eggs, 208 ounces of tomato, 17 cloves of garlic, 2 pounds of parmigiano reggiano, and 65 total meatballs. This is my final plate. I'm Hana in the BA Test Kitchen, and I'm here to show you how I developed my ideal version of spaghetti and meatballs. Usually my game plan when it comes to recipe development is to start with kind of a standard specimen of that recipe. And so my plan for today is to tackle traditional spaghetti and meatballs consisting of 3 different types of meat: beef, pork, veal, with added ingredients like the ground parm, parsley, egg, breadcrumb mixture. And then let's talk about the sauce. I would say either a puree or a passata. Basil is a question mark. For weeknight friendly, I don't know if I want there to be like 2 different types of herbs, like EVO, salt and pepper, thick or regular spaghetti. Usually like the bronze cut is the best. And I think that's a good place to start. That's like the list of ingredients. I'm gonna start with that version. Let's see what kind of tweaks I'd like to make. We're using ground beef. Pork brings the luscious fat and mouthfeel. That's also why it's important to get 80-20 beef, because that is also a high level of fat. Fat is flavor. The veal lends a lightness to the meat mixture. I'm going to make a panade made with like dried breadcrumbs and milk. What that acts is kind of a glue, but also a filler. Whoops, 1/4 cup of cheese. Almost like we're starting carbonara, huh? I like to keep the meat separate from the wet ingredients. By doing this, you can ensure that everything will be incorporated into the meat mix in a very like even way. Gentle, like you don't want to compact the meat. No, don't do that. When you overmix your meat, the likelihood of you ending up with a tougher meatball is higher. I like to add just like a little bit of oil to the ice cream scoop. Let's see how much this will yield. So again, not compressing. I'm going to shape first and then kind of pat them later. Oh my gosh, are we gonna have 16? I'm gonna make sure it's 16. I like 16 because if this recipe is to serve about 4 people, you know right away you can have at least 3 to 4 meatballs. What I like to do is like not form them because they're quite wet, but you kind of want to knock some air out of them. Do you hear that? You're like slapping them. If there's too much air, they'll just like crumble when you go to eat them. What I'll probably do is just stick this in the fridge. And what I think that will do is help them retain their shape and be ready for the pot once it's time to go and sear them, just so they don't like completely disintegrate on us. What searing accomplishes for meats is it creates a caramelized crust due to the Maillard reaction. And that's just that nice browning effect. It kind of provides a shell of integrity so that the thing doesn't just fall apart. These are like a little bit on the wet side. Yeah, I already know I'm not gonna sear in my next version. You know what I'm gonna do actually? Stay right here. I'm going to grab 2 spoons. The spoons will not just help maintain the shape, but it'll be a little more gentle. I'm not a huge fan of this process because it's a little messy, a little too much babysitting involved. I feel like there's a better way and we'll find the better way. Right now they look like Korean meat patties. I would say this is no good. So what I'll do is fish out some of the excess meat and then I'll start the sauce. Marinara to me is pretty plain. I want to keep the focus on the meatballs and keep the sauce pretty straightforward. If you keep a wooden spoon like this, it won't splatter all over you. I might actually put the meatballs in now. I'm like changing it up. The meatballs will gently simmer, almost poach in the marinara sauce. I think it looks okay. I think the shape could be a little better, but as it cooks, it also firms up a bit. So we'll see what the end result is like. Oh, it's tender. Tender it is, but is it too tender? Hi. I'd be curious to hear what Mr. Morocco says.
What problem are we solving here?
My ideal meatball is a tender one. So yeah, I want you to feel it.
What's tender?
Okay, I think the texture is good, and that is actually my intention, to preserve the texture first. But when I was searing them, I mean, they were also very wet, very soft, and so
they were holding together.
Like barely.
Barely. I would say like the flavor of the meatball is lacking a little bit of character and depth to me.
I agree with you.
It feels like it's like a little bit beige. When I was doing like the BA's Best, I think it was meatballs,
Yeah.
like that's when I ultimately decided to put like a little bit of cured meat in there,
Oh,
like
interesting.
prosciutto or salami, something just to bring like that additional nuance. But that's not like a solve that I think works for most people.
Yeah, there can be so much more, and I already have ideas on how I can improve it.
Like if I go over to the pot and take another meatball right now for lunch, don't accept that as like confirmation that like your work here is done.
Okay.
That's just me being hungry. I just want to make that very
Well,
clear.
it is lunchtime. No, please help yourself. But if it wasn't good, you wouldn't take another one, right?
All right, I'll see you later.
Okay, thank you. My first attempt, I think, was, decent, not the greatest. Chris took another meatball, so it's not all that bad, but definitely room for improvement. Now that I've cooked through kind of a full recipe's worth of both beef ball, pasta, and sauce, I'm going to set the sauce and pasta conversation to the side and just like nail the meatballs next. So we are working on our second version, and there are already like a few very important tweaks that I think we will take into consideration. Chris's feedback and mine as well was that while the texture was nice, the flavor could have benefited from a little bit more oomph. I'm going to borrow a technique that I often use when making Swedish style meatballs. The method there is sauteing a yellow onion first and letting it cool a bit before introducing it to the meat mix. Onion also brings a lot of umami, so I think will add a ton of flavor and moisture. So the first version, we use the traditional trio of veal, pork, and ground beef. I think for this one, I want to see if I can still achieve the same juicy tenderness with just beef and pork. No offense to veal, but I want to focus on kind of easily obtainable meats that you can find anywhere. I noticed the first batch of meatballs was quite liquidy, so I think removing one egg will help us. I'm looking for soy sauce. Sorry. Are you okay? I know, I didn't see any earlier. Hi. I wanted to introduce my secret ingredient for version 2. Soy sauce. I'm like, just make everything Asian, right? I couldn't find our regular soy sauce, so I'm gonna try with the lower sodium version. I just wanted to add more depth to our meat mixture, and I think even just adding a teaspoon, perhaps 2, will help us get there. Don't tell Chris. Let's see if his super taster taste buds can detect this. Oh, you know what I just thought of actually? So one of my favorite ground meat preparations is menchikatsu, which is like deep fried Japanese style meatballs. In that technique, and also in a lot of dumpling filling techniques, you should be mixing the meat until it becomes like almost pasty. It's like a stirring claw-like motion, which you can mimic with a spoon or spatula as well. And what it's doing is just getting more mousse-like. You can already see. Do you see how it's like becoming more of a homogenized form? Oh my gosh, I love this. It almost looks like pate. They're maintaining more of a ball shape as opposed to kind of like a domed patty. I can already tell this version is better. I want to put them under the broiler. I love the broiler. These probably would have fared better in the sear-off as well, but I'm not gonna even bother. Oh, she's sizzling. OMG, okay. Yeah, that's the browning we like and love. So my sauce has been simmering. I'm just gonna add them in, and already the meatballs look so much better than version 1. They have a nice ball shape. Looks like they held up well. They actually got a really nice crust on the bottom as well. Freaking love the broiler. I'm gonna check one in maybe 10 minutes. Low and slow. I'm just gonna try one meatball because I don't wanna overcook them, and if it is ready, then we'll just pull them off the heat. Oh, they're so cute, look. When you see the oil splitting from the tomato sauce, that's a good sign. Oh yeah, the flavors are amped up. And I'm not having this with pasta, but definitely more savory. Wow, I want someone to try this.
This is the
Yes, so this version 2.
What tomatoes are you using?
Just so you know, the meatball is what I wanted to focus on. So I used Rayo's just in equal amounts. So don't eat too much of the sauce.
Okay.
Focus on the meatball.
Definitely firmer.
Definitely firmer.
It eats very nicely. Did you always have the raw onion in there?
It's not raw, it's sauteed.
You're gonna make me saute onion to make a meatball?
Just one onion and 1 tablespoon of olive oil and some salt. It took no time at all.
Did it really take no time? Can we wind it back? Can we check the time code on that?
Do you detect anything else in there? I have a secret ingredient.
It's very nicely savory.
Okay.
A little bit deeper,
Yes.
definitely than previously.
I added a bit of soy sauce because I can't help myself.
It's working. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
obvious at all.
Good. This is beef and pork. The veal is not in this mix.
Do you feel like you could potentially reintroduce a little bit more tenderness now that you're like in a beef and a pork space?
Yes. I was even
Just
thinking sliding the ratio where pork is like a bigger part of it.
Only thing I'd say like I would still be annoyed about as
Okay.
a user of the recipe
Okay.
would be cooking out the onion. I
Oh,
want to
yeah.
just put the things in the thing,
Yeah.
on the thing, and be
Yeah.
done.
You know what though, Chris? I'm not promising an easiest meatball scenario.
Okay.
I'm giving people tender. So
Tender.
it's like,
All right, well, you better give them like real friggin' tender.
okay. I'm still very happy with the flavor. I'm gonna tweak the texture so we get a little bit more of the tenderness back. I can bring a little more liquid back without negatively impacting the structural integrity of the meatballs. So hopefully we can do it. Good morning. This is day 2 of spaghetti and meatball development. We're now on our 3rd version. My thinking is I will improve upon yesterday's 2 versions, bringing back some of the moisture and tenderness that was lost between version 1 and 2, but still keeping the nice shape that we achieved in the 2nd version. The first thing I'm going to do is start on a simple marinara. Today I'm going to be using a passata, which doesn't get heated prior to being bottled, so it is able to retain a little bit more brightness, in my opinion. The tomato sauce does not need that much time, but I do want to establish an aromatic base and just let this simmer down a little bit to concentrate the flavor. One major change that I'm doing in version 3 is instead of sauteing the onion, which might be a little bit of an inconvenience for a cook at home, is to just simply grate it into the meat mixture. We use pureed onion and some fruits all the time in Korean barbecue marinade, so I'm just pulling from my personal knowledge to see if this will also kind of provide that nice tender moment for our meatballs. I'm going to increase the liquid in the panade just a little bit to see if I can bring some moisture back to the meatball. So I can already tell by feeling and looking at them that they're softer than yesterday's 2nd version, but a little bit firmer than version 1. So I think yesterday it was in for like 6.5, maybe 7 minutes. While it gave it a nice crust, I think that cooked the meatball further than I wanted. And so today I wanted to bring it back just so I could have a tender meatball. So I'm pulling it 5 minutes. It's not as golden as yesterday, but I don't want them to be in here for too long. So you can tell it's just set on top, but it's not like a caramelized situation as it was yesterday, super brown, but that's okay. We want to preserve the texture. These are so tender that I'm not going to use tongs. I'm going to gently coax them in with a spoon. I'm actually very happy with how they look, considering the shape they were in out of the broiler, which was too soft for the tongs to touch. Would you like to try version 3?
Yeah.
Do you taste any difference from yesterday flavor-wise?
It definitely tastes a little brighter.
Okay.
To me.
I grated half an onion
Really?
into the meat mix and incorporated both the pulp and its juices. So pulling a page from the Korean barbecue marinade book, Koreans often use like a pureed fruit and onion mix to both give flavor, sweetness, and to tenderize the meat. So
I think it's coming through as like freshness, like and
that's
brightness,
good.
but without any of like the heat. When I see red sauce that's like has this like absence of texture, it's just like that luscious kind of velvety. It's so my grandma.
Oh, amazing! That's who I'm channeling.
Oh my god!
Is
like it honestly tastes a good bit like hers too. Like just the sauce.
Wow! I think I'm done. Just kidding.
It's very tender.
Okay.
Did you try to brown it?
Went back to the broiler and I pulled it a few minutes before I pulled it yesterday.
I like that the oven is setting the shape of the meatball. I don't mind that it didn't get browned.
Yeah, and frankly, when moving it into the jacuzzi, I couldn't even lift them with tongs because I had to spoon them in. Yeah.
This is really tender. It's certainly holding together, but wow, love it. You're done.
I'm done?
Easy day.
Cut? No, just kidding. Okay, wow, I'm so proud of where I am at this stage because frankly, I thought I would need at least a couple more attempts, but I was really happy with this last version, version 3. Version 4, while it's the same as version 3 as far as ingredients go, I'm going to keep a tighter eye on time. I want to just keep an eye on the broiler, nail down the time and the color that I'm aiming for, and cook through it as if you were to cook through it at home. One thing I will be doing a little differently in this run through is test 2 different types of pasta. So you have your standard spaghetti and then thick spaghetti. I think this slightly thicker shape will hold well to the meatballs, and with the pasta water going, broiler preheating, and sauce going. Like, we're gonna do the recipe from start to finish. So now it's about timing and making sure that the order of the instructions that I will deliver you all makes sense and feels like the best use of time. Oh my God, just under an hour, guys. They look actually the best so far. Juicy. These are delicious. Thick spaghetti I've been seeing around in my local stores, but they're actually harder to find than I thought. So let's see if taking the effort to search for thick spaghetti is worth the difference. I'm so far very happy with the regular spaghetti, as it's intended, I guess. I would say stick to the regular spaghetti. The thick spaghetti does offer a different sensation, but in my final recipe, I think I'll call for the regular standard classic spaghetti. I would be so happy to have this for dinner. The big glass of wine, like this big. I'm like, Leslie, let's have some wine. Maybe some like garlic bread or a Caesar salad alongside. I think when you think of spaghetti and meatballs, this is what you're thinking of. This is it. It's my final version. I'm very proud of it, and I hope you guys make spaghetti and meatballs at home. I would be so touched, especially if you tried my version.